Welcome to A Changed Life. This is a podcast about choosing differently, how you think, how you relate, and how you lead yourself. Here we focus on the inner shifts that create real momentum and open up what's possible next. Welcome back to the podcast. This is Ilyse. I'm so glad that you're here. If you are new here, I'm glad that you found your way to the podcast. And if you have been listening all along, then I just want to say that I thank you and I appreciate you. So, there is a question that weighs heavy on almost everyone that I have ever worked with. Sometimes it comes out in the first session, and oftentimes it takes a long time because saying this out loud is almost too much to bear. So, what that is this question: how do I know if things will ever really get better? And let me be really honest with you, because I think that you deserve that more than you deserve comfort. The answer is not time. Time doesn't heal anything on its own. Time just gives you more distance from what happened. What actually determines whether things get better is something really specific. And it's something you can actually look at right now in your life, in your relationship. You can look at this today. First, I want to name something that doesn't get said enough. Betrayal, as we know, is not always romantic. Some of the most devastating betrayals I have witnessed and experienced have happened in friendships, in business, in family. The person who was supposed to have your back, that person, the one you trusted with something real, and they didn't just let you down. They actively caused damage and then acted like either it didn't happen or it wasn't that big of a deal. I recently went through this with someone who I considered a close friend, and what I discovered in watching how she handled what happened between us gave me more clarity than I had had in months. Because here's what I see, or more accurately, here's what I didn't see. And I'm going to break this down into three very specific signs or signals. Okay. The first thing that I look for is this: do they own the damage that they caused? Not just the act, but the aftermath, the damage. There's a difference between someone saying, I'm sorry I did that, or I'm sorry that I made you feel that way, than someone saying, I understand how what I did affected you, and I can see what the cost that it and the toll that it took on you. Totally different, those two things. One is an apology, and the other is accountability, and they are not the same. An apology can be a way of closing a conversation, almost in a sense, getting it over with by apologizing. But accountability keeps it open long enough to actually start to repair something. So the person I'm thinking of, she could not do that. There was no acknowledgement of what her actions had cost me. Not financially, not personally, not relationally. It simply didn't exist in the world that she lived in. And when someone cannot see the damage they caused, they'll never, ever be able to repair it. You cannot fix what you refuse to see. So ask yourself right now, does the person in your situation own the damage? Not just what they did, but what it did to you. I see a pattern in this person's behavior. Because here's what I've learned doing this work. Most people who cause serious harm in relationships have done some version of it before. That doesn't mean that they're a monster. What it makes them is someone with an unexamined pattern. And the question isn't whether the pattern exists. The question is, can they see it? Because someone who could see that this isn't the first time, that this dynamic has been following them around, that something in them keeps arriving at the same destination, that person has the raw material for change. It's painful awareness, but it's awareness. Someone who cannot see it or refuses to is going to repeat it. Don't fool yourself. They will repeat it, not because they're bad, because the brain runs the program. It runs until something interrupts them, and you cannot interrupt a pattern that you don't acknowledge. The third sign or the third signal, and this is one that gets talked about, but probably not enough, is entitlement. Because here's the thing about entitlement that I don't think gets said clearly enough. Entitlement and accountability cannot coexist. They actually cancel each other out. So when someone fundamentally believes that the rules that apply to everyone else don't quite apply to them, when there's a quiet belief that their needs, their reasons, their version of events is just more important, has more value, then genuine accountability becomes almost impossible. Because accountability requires you to place someone else's reality on equal footing with your own, and entitlement won't allow that. So I want you to think about the person in your situation, not whether they're a good person. We're not judging whether or not they're a good person, and not whether they love you or care about you or if there's a long history, but is there a belief in them that they are somehow exempt, that their intentions matter more than your experience, that the usual rules of repair don't fully apply to them, and they have a whole story about why that is. Their family, their past, their attachments, their addiction. There's a whole rigmarole about why things don't apply to them. Because if entitlement is running the show, that is the thing that needs to change before anything else can. Now, I want to say something that might be hard to hear. Sometimes the answer to will things get better is no. Not because people can't change, but because change requires a specific kind of willingness that not everyone has, and you cannot want it for them hard enough to make it happen. One of the things that I see in my men's group, and one of the biggest blessings that I've had doing this work, is running a men's group. Men that have deceived, men that have lied, men that have betrayed, men that have done really, really awful things. These men are willing to look at themselves, to own their stuff, to be stretched way out of their comfort zone, to take accountability for what they've done, to be able to build their capacity to sit with the damage that they've caused. So, something that you can do is get honest about what you're actually seeing, not what you hope for, not what you wish there was, but what is actually showing up right now. Ownership of damage, pattern awareness, and the presence or absence of entitlement. Those three things will tell you more than words ever will, more than promises will, more than time will. So I want to leave you with this. The question, will things ever get better, is actually two questions. The first is about them. Are they capable of and committed to real change? The second is about you. Are you willing to see clearly even when clarity is painful? Both questions matter, but the second one is the only one that you have control over. That's where change lives are built, in the willingness to see what's true, even when it's hard. Thank you so much for sticking with me. for this podcast. I know that this topic is not an easy one, but I want you to be able to trust that we're going to talk straight here. You deserve that. I deserve that. We all deserve that. This is Ilyse. This is a Change Life podcast, and I will see you next week. If something in today's episode resonated with you, you'll find a link in the show notes to book a free consultation call. Or you can visit IlyseCraft.com to explore my programs and free resources. Nothing changes until you do. And when you do, everything does. This is a changed life. Not all at once, but for good.